So this is Torquay Harbour, and Torquay's growth as a resort began with the development of the harbour in the early 19th century and subsequent enlargements over the next centuries. So for visitors who arrived by sea, it was the focal point. The commercial heart of the eastern part of the town has grown back from the harbour. The harbour environment are where the majority of the town's earliest buildings are to be found, and here there is clear evidence of the rapid transition of Torquay from a small fishing port to a fashionable resort during the 19th century. The harbour in its current form began with the formation of the inner harbour around 1803 to 1815, the enlargement of the strand and new slipways in the 1860s, and then the construction of Holden Pier on the other side around 1867 to 1870. And also the closing arm of Princess Pier and the new gardens on reclaimed land in 1895. So quite a large Victorian history. Okay, so I had a little walk up through the town and I took some pictures behind Fleet Walk, and there used to be two streets called one called Swan Street and one called George Street, that ran from where Burger King used to be, from where these photos are taken, to the arcade. So they would cut through and almost like shortcuts. So these streets were part of the old town of Torquay and were demolished in the late 80s. And some of these photos capture some of the old buildings which are remaining, but as I explained, it was all demolished in the 80s, and I believe they might have been slums at some point. Quite gloomy little streets. So yeah, so this picture here, these pictures are taken at the surviving top section of Swan Street. So this is the only part of Swan Street left, because 80% of Swan Street was demolished along with George Street. These are the two old streets of Torquay, to build Fleet Walk. So Swan Street was one of the oldest streets in Torquay and led towards Kerry Parade.